The Mind-Controlled State. By Philip Jones. 1068. Like in all other Western countries today, Danes are bombarded almost 24/7 by images on television which dictate their view of their country and the world around them, as all avenues of information save the internet, for now, are further centralized into fewer and fewer hands. The opportunity for the intensive and coordinated e-programming of the population has never been greater. Television presents to us a view of reality which is obscenely false and in most cases perversely so. Its relentless depictions of extreme violence and loveless recreational sex are intended to immunize the viewer to all the horrors awaiting them come the day of the New World Order. All the old and traditional values are brutally trashed each and every evening in movies and TV soaps where the lust for sensation is incessant. Men who should be awakening to the realities of the global police state falling down around them and their families, are instead sat glaring at the wide screen in the corner as if in a trance, watching sport and horror movies. Television news lies blatantly from the mouths of well-groomed and generally attractive dummies who repeat the lies on air each day without ever questioning as to whether what they are transmitting is actual. The newspapers reinforce this deceit the following morning and the mass of sleepwalkers on their way to their chosen place of servitude inhale the neatly packaged, blandly written deceptions without pausing for thought at all. Then on their way home, they turn on the car radio, or place the headphones over their ears and listen to mindless pop music which unbeknown to them contains subliminal lyrics and trigger words in the same way that television programs and advertisements are routinely displayed via almost undetectable subliminal messaging throughout the whole viewing spectrum. Although it is true to say that in Denmark the use of mass mind control techniques via the popular media might be on a reduced scale in comparison to the USA, for example, when combined with the highly advanced and sophisticated mind programming of the state education system and the almost universal acceptance of the Jantelov as a way of life, then the effects are in many regards spectacularly more successful. Clearly, broadcasting is a medium of indoctrination. In Denmark, it has two main aims: to persuade Danes that they live in the best of all possible worlds, and to condition them to the ideology of the sitting government. To induce a nation to believe that it enjoys the happiest lot on earth is an elementary device to secure compliance with the government and forestall criticism. In reporting from abroad, the Danish news media are concerned, not so much to show how other people live, but to illuminate the superiority of all things Danish. They concentrate on the defects of foreign countries, drawing comparisons to the advantages of Denmark. The viewer is invited to see how badly off people are everywhere else and to consider how fortunate he is. The press and periodicals take the same line. It is not only that the Dane is told that he has the highest standard of living, and the best social security, but that he really is superior in all things, most particularly in politics and culture. An article on child care in France, published by a Danish women's magazine, seemed to have no other purpose but that of serving up a homily on how much better Danes took care of their children. Even travel writing often contains disparaging remarks, in order specifically to draw a moral in praise of Denmark, usually concerned with poverty abroad and prosperity at home. Most nations entertain a high opinion of themselves, but unless their rulers nurse ulterior motives, official media of communication do not normally insist, as a matter of policy, on advertising domestic superiority. Still less do they pursue this aim by denigrating foreign institutions. Simply put, Danes are bewildered into a patriotic sense of false security, which consolidates a sense of quasi-superiority and belonging on the one hand, whilst enforcing a bubble mentality on the other. The use of mobile phones, wireless broadband and telecommunications as tools of mass mind control. Man does not have the right to develop his own mind. This kind of liberal orientation has great appeal. We must electrically control the brain. Someday armies and generals will be controlled by electric stimulation of the brain. U.S. government mind manipulator, Dr. Jose Delgado. Congressional Record, number 262E, volume 118, 1974. We live in an age of wireless technology. Everywhere one looks, people are using mobile phones. Even children of prepubescent age can be seen walking down the street totally engrossed in their new best friend, seemingly oblivious to the world around them. This is exactly the situation the planners of the mind control state want. In this, Denmark is no exception. The masts which relay the microwave signals for mobile phone networks are now so common, few even notice them. But people need to realize that these masts, and especially the soon-to-be introduced Tetra communications systems, which are already in use in the UK and which will soon be used by the Danish emergency services, are potential killers and agents of mass mind control. What we call the military-industrial complex is just that. The fusion of the military and the corporate, through which technology developed in the secret projects to advance human control is brought into the public arena by the military, supplying a connected corporation with the know-how. This is then sold to the public as a breakthrough discovered by the company itself. The people closest to the Tetra technology will be the police officers and other emergency services that use it every day. Already in countries where Tetra is operational, they are experiencing physical, mental and emotional consequences, including cancer of the esophagus in numbers way above the international average. Tetra signals are close to those of human brain frequencies, and this is not a coincidence. It is a designed and coldly calculated measure and a primary reason for the plan to install a network of mobile phone, Tetra, and other systems of electromagnetic communications that operate as one unit to create an electromagnetic mini-matrix to scramble normal brain and DNA function while dictating mental and emotional responses. In the film Control Factor, the character played by Adam Baldwin discovers he is a programmed human robot and that nothing about his life is real. He finds himself caught up in a deadly government mind control experiment whereby instructions and orders are passed to him via antenna masts. In a report relating to the use of Tetra technology, UK scientist Barry Trower said in his report for the Police Federation, "Pulse radiation from Tetra at 17.6 Hz waves per second is known to interfere with our natural brain's rhythm. Our brains generate their own waves within our head. One of these waves, called beta waves, is on a very similar frequency to the Tetra handsets. What happens is, if you could imagine yourself jumping on a trampoline and somebody larger and heavier jumps on and dances at a slightly different speed, you will bounce at their pace rather than yours. When they jump off, you will still bounce at their speed. The jumping on of the person onto the trampoline is known as entrainment, and this occurs when the Tetra is used in close proximity to an officer's brain. Because Tetra affects the beta rhythm of the brain, it will affect what the beta rhythm is responsible for, namely sound judgment in emergency situations. Entrainment is always followed by a phenomena called long-term potentiation. This is an analogous to the person getting off the trampoline leaving you dancing. Long-term potentiation has been known to last several weeks after the initial source has died down. The implications for this are that the officer's brain waves would continue to suffer entrainment even after the sets have been switched off, which would be reinforced every time the sets are switched on again." Trower writes of the effect on sound judgment in emergency situations. Put another way, the ability to think straight. And it is not only the emergency service workers who can potentially have their thought processes disrupted. So can anyone who comes into contact with the Tetra frequencies. Thousands of Tetra masts are planned to be located throughout the rest of Europe, and their equivalent in North America and elsewhere. Generation Ritalin X. In 1995, Denmark's Cooperative Institute for Medical Drug Dependence reported the following withdrawal symptoms from psychotropic drug dependence: emotional changes, fear, terror, panic, fear of insanity, failing self-confidence, restlessness, irritability, aggression, an urge to destroy, and, in the worst cases, an urge to kill. Psychotic episodes and violent behavior are also associated with chronic Ritalin abuse. Even the manufacturer warns in its information leaflet, frank psychotic episodes can occur with abuse. The history of violence by teens who have been subjected to psychiatric drugs cannot be ignored. Consider the following examples. November 20, 1986. Rod Matthews, 14, beat a classmate to death with a bat in the woods near his house in Canton, Massachusetts. Rod was put on Ritalin when he was in 3rd grade. The 19th of February, 1996. Timmy Beckton, 10, grabbed his 3-year-old niece as a shield and aimed a shotgun at a sheriff's deputy who accompanied a truant officer to his Florida home. Becton had been taken to a psychiatrist in January to cure his dislike of school and was put on a psychiatric drug, Prozac. His parents said that when the dosage of the drug was increased, Timmy had violent mood swings and that he would get really angry. The 21st of May, 1998. Kip Kinkle, a 15-year-old at Thurston High School in Springfield, Oregon, murdered his parents and then proceeded to school where he opened fire on students in the cafeteria, killing 2 and wounding 22. Kinkle had been prescribed both Ritalin and Prozac. The 16th of April, 1999. Sean Cooper, a 15-year-old sophomore at Notus Junior-Senior High School in Notus, Idaho, was taking Ritalin when he fired 2 shotgun rounds, narrowly missing students and school staff. The 20th of May, 1999. TJ Solomon, a 15-year-old at Heritage High School in Conyers, GA, was being treated with Ritalin for depression when he opened fire on and wounded 6 classmates. A report published by the Danish Lager Middelsterolsen states that in Denmark and the other Nordic lands, consumption and the number of people treated with antidepressants has been increasing since 1994 and continues to grow strongly. The increase in the consumption of the newer antidepressants is both because there are more people in treatment, but also that larger doses are being prescribed. The most preferred preparation for the treatment of depression in the year 2003 were products containing the substances citalopram and escitalopram. End of chapter 3. See you in chapter 4 Anonymous Northern Light.